Hello everyone and welcome to the next tutorial here on the Duct Tape Stuff channel. About, I say 5 or 6 weeks ago, maybe even a little bit more than that, I did make a time lapse which kind of featured a shark hat made out of a little bit of cardboard and duct tape, and I wanted to film the tutorial to show you guys how to make that in this video. So one of the few things you're going to need for this hat are 2 pieces of cardboard, 2 sheets of cardboard to be exact. I got these off the front and back of just a regular old cereal box, and if you're following along with me, the major color you're going to need is gray tape. You can also use chrome if you want to, and you need just a little bit of red, white, and black. So let's get started here on making the shark hat. So the first thing we need to do is make sure that when we tape the 2 cardboard pieces together, they can fit all the way on top of your head, kind of like a hat. And if it doesn't work, then you're going to probably just need a little bit of extra cardboard. Maybe leave like the extra flaps when you're cutting out your cereal box, so you have like 2 pieces that are exactly the same with the sides combined, so leave those attached. But what I'm going to do for these 2 is I'm going to seal these together right now. Of course, I'm going to take the... It doesn't really matter which way you do this, I'm just going to kind of seal them in just like this. We're going to be covering the entire thing with tape, with gray tape specifically, so no need to worry about what's on the cardboard or anything like that. So I'm going to flip it over like this. I'm going to seal up this end. Of course, when you're cutting them out, you want to make sure that they're roughly identical. It's going to make things a little bit easier. That side gets sealed in, flip the whole thing over, and then seal up this side on this part over here. Nothing fancy. And then we're going to take a little bit of our pair of scissors and kind of trim off these edges on the top and bottom. Alright, so at this point, once you have both sides connected, you would kind of peel it out like this, and that would have to fit on top of your head, kind of this circle that's created. If you're using just these 2 pieces of the cereal box, it's kind of small unless you have a really small head, so I would probably use that extra flap that comes with the cereal box, like the sides, and that'll probably give you enough room to put it over top of your head here. If that isn't large enough, you can also add a little bit of cardboard to it if you have some spare cardboard around, or you can make a kind of like a small sheet of tape by sticking 2 strips together and then using that as the bridge by sealing it on one side, and the other side to kind of expand that gap and allow it to fit over your head a little bit better. But for this tutorial, that one's going to work out pretty well and kind of show you guys exactly what I'm going to do with the rest of the shark hat. So let's get started on that. So now I'm going to start actually detailing kind of part of the shark here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my pen, and I specifically haven't cover this with tape yet because it doesn't really make much sense to do that. But this is going to be part of the tail up here. This is going to be where the head is, and of course it sits on top of your head like the shark is eating your head, which is kind of cool. Kind of a cool part of that. So I'm going to kind of just round these out a little bit. Of course, you can do this a few times to kind of get an idea of where you want to cut it. It's not final until of course, you cut it with your pair of scissors. So grab your pair of scissors and then cut it out so you have kind of a thin part up here and a much thicker part down here, because you'll be cutting out these 2 pieces. So once we have that there, about the right size, you can take these 2 parts and kind of round those a little bit to make it look a little bit more rounded and not quite as square when we're sticking everything together. So you can round those 2 pieces at the top. So now at this part, we're going to take pretty much a whole bunch of gray tape, and we're going to cover up the entire part of the shark here. So this is where we're going to use a ton of gray tape. You're going to seal up every single piece except for this part here at the bottom. So you can seal up this part here, and then to this part, and then all the way around. If you have any overlapping over on this part here, you can just kind of wrap that onto the inside, and then like I said, you're going to be using a whole bunch of gray tape to seal up the entire design here except for the bottom. So do that step now, all with gray tape or chrome tape if you prefer. So there we have it, totally covered with duct tape on both sides, and it's sealed up all the way on the top here, of course leaving the bottom part open for your head to go in. Now we're going to work on a few of the fins and the tail of the shark, and of course put an eye on it as well. So to make the tail, and also if you're going to make any fins, all you want to do is take a few strips of tape, 4 for the tail here. I stuck my first 2, stuck them together like that. I'm going to take my 3rd one and just kind of overlap by just a little bit. And in this sheet, I'm going to cut into a tail, and I'm going to mark it with a pen in just a second. So once you have a decent enough sheet for the tail, kind of measure it over here, and then of course grab your pen. And you want to kind of just mark where the tail is up to this point, and then that's what you know exactly where to attach it. So from here, you can kind of, I'm going to kind of make it kind of a forked tail, but it's a whole bunch of different designs you can make it, and I want to kind of round it a little bit more maybe. That probably looks a little bit better, just like that. And then I'm going to cut that out and stick it right on. And there's the attached tail. Now to keep it from flopping around when you're wearing the hat, you can kind of, if you want to, you can stick a little bit of craft wire in there, and then of course you can fold it any way you want to, but it should be, you know, just decent enough with just attached to the duct tape, attached right to the cardboard there. Now I'm going to add kind of one fin on the top, and that's probably where I'm going to end it, and I'll stick some eyes on it and the teeth, of course. So one more fin, and that's made exactly the same way by attaching two sheets and then kind of just drawing it with the pen. But now I'm going to work on some of the teeth and of course the eyes. So now finally you get to use a few of the other colors to kind of liven up the shark a little bit. To make the teeth, which are probably one of the best parts of the shark, you're going to take a whole bunch of white pieces of tape, cut them into about 2-inch squares, and we're actually going to make duct tape flower petals. So if you know how to make flower petals, you're on the right track. But to do this, I'm going to take your bottom right hand corner, fold into about there, so you can see the letter L, capital letter L on the sticky side. Take the top left hand corner and fold it in, line up the side over here, so you have a small pyramid with a sticky part on the bottom. That's exactly how I teach people how to make duct tape flower petals. Once again, if you didn't catch it, bottom right hand corner, fold into about there, capital letter L with a sticky part. Take the top left hand corner, fold it into right about there, smooth it out, pyramid with a small just a bar of sticky part on the bottom. Now how this works is we take all of our pieces here, and when we line all these up, it'll look like the shark has teeth. And of course when you're wearing this on top of your head, it'll look like the shark is kind of munching down your head. So after you make all your petals, you stick all those on. To make the eye, very simple, it's just a small circle of duct tape with a smaller black one stuck on top, and then you can stick that, of course, wherever you want to, right about there. And of course you can add all the teeth down here. Alright, so that's how to make the duct tape shark hat. I added that extra fin on the top here. Of course, you can use a little bit of craft wire as well in that to kind of make sure it stays in the right place. Granted, it is kind of a really wacky creation to make. I'm not sure if you probably wouldn't wear this every day, but if you're going to a duct tape event or something along those lines, I think it would definitely work out. I actually got the inspiration and the idea to do this when I saw someone wearing similar to this at the Duct Tape Festival last year in Ohio. So that's where I kind of got the idea and the inspiration for it. So hope you guys liked the tutorial. And there will be, of course, more videos coming pretty soon to the channel, so stay tuned for those, and hope you liked the tutorial.